Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to do this friendship reading for ATEEZ members, Sun and Wooyoung. And yes, this is actually a very requested reading. I know I read for them in the past, but yeah, people wanted an update. And I think that it's, at least from my side, as I do consider myself an ATEEZ, I think that it's very important to reflect on, and I find it actually a bit funny um, how some people cannot see the individual outside a certain ship or a certain group of certain members. Because I was reflecting on this, I was like, okay, since this is Cancer season, the only Cancer that we have in ATEEZ is Sun. And I was like a bit shocked, like no one asked me for an individual reading for him. They just want this reading with him and Wooyoung, I'm sorry. And also it's vice versa, like it's the same happens when it's Wooyoung's Sagittarius season. Like they're always asking first for a reading of this sort of ship. So I think that in that case, we should reflect if these people are fans. We should reflect about what's going on, that we do not think of them as individuals. And there's always, at least what I experience here in my channel, there's always a request for these shipping readings somehow, instead of worrying for them individually. So I leave you that. For me, it's actually very sad that they don't see them individually. But yeah, but I guess that in this Cancer season I will be reading for Sun and for Wooyoung. So yeah, let's start. I place Sun on the left and Wooyoung on the right. And from Sun's side we have the Three of Cups, the Seven of Wands and the Ace of Wands. I honestly think that Sun got very like positive cards, in the sense that he's in a very good mood, like emotionally. A lot of good things have been happening, probably for him and also for the group. You know, a lot of feeling very cheerful, feeling very happy, and he really wants to celebrate with others. You know, he definitely wants to share his. His good mood and his positivity with others, and probably also he's like celebrating a lot also with other people, because I don't know why with the Three of Cups I see him like reaching out to Wooyoung to celebrate, but I think that there's also someone else, like it could be a group of three people, actually like hanging out, I don't know, after work or after their schedule is done. And um, and I feel that this is very meaningful. I don't know why, because I don't have much cards here, but I have the feeling that probably this celebration, or this need to celebrate now, it was a long time ago since this happened. I don't know if maybe in the past they were a bit like distance from each other, or there was like some kind of um, you know um, just this distancing, and maybe not hanging out that much, and maybe also not sharing that much. There's something about them not being involved like emotionally in each other's life, and now it's like they are back at it. um, because with the seven of wands and the ace of wands, there's a sense also of defensiveness. um, Probably something happened like a couple of months ago, that I don't know if they had like a sort of argument, because from Sun's perspective I don't see it. But then later when I see William's side, I do see it. So I think that definitely there's something happened, a sort of not nothing important. It's just a disagreement. Uh, and now, because everything is going very well, there's this feeling of like, okay, let's celebrate, like let's be happy. Um, but yeah, with the Seven of Wands and the Ace of Wands, there's a sort of like defensiveness coming from Sam's perspective, like okay, but also a sort of protectiveness. I think that he feels very, in this season, he feels very protective of his members, of his people in general. I think that literally he's a very passionate guy. He's a guy that he puts his body to defend the others. There's something about him also feeling very passionate. This season is a season where he's also connecting with his body, with his strengths. He's also very, he's emotional, but also he's very like expressive, and I think that definitely there's something about his view about his bond with Wooyoung somehow been changing, and also him wanting to protect this from not having a sort of interruption. um, I feel like he's like, okay, we have to protect this happy moment, or we have to protect this feeling of satisfaction and happiness. Um, I definitely believe he does value Woo Young's friendship, um, but I think that also he has the need to protect this friendship from other people, or other people's influence. So I don't know maybe what happened, if they were like somehow like if they had a discussion because of someone else's interruption, or because of someone's opinion, or there's something about this. But definitely from Sam's perspective, there's a very active attitude of like, okay, I have to defend this bond. And also with the Ace of Wands, Sun is feeling very passionate and also very inspired, very creative. So I think he wants to do more with Wooyoung when it comes to, I don't know, probably if they have, I don't know, shows, or if they have presentations, or if they have uh, moments of exposure, you're going to see him being a bit more active, like a bit more expressive with Wooyoung, probably having a lot of interactions together, and these possibly being initiated by Sun, because definitely I sense like there's this need to reach out to Sun, to William, sorry, um, to be like, okay, let's be strong together, let's be passionate together, like let's create something together. There's, and also the sense of like, okay, let's start like a very passionate new beginning. um, I think that definitely he's very happy. He's very happy that he's in a very good place in his life, and he wants to share it with William. But also he's like, we should create more together. We should do more together. Um, and him thinking about it, thinking about it, being very much in his mind. Like, okay, what can we do? Like, should we create like a better choreography together? Like, I don't know, should we hang out more often? There's something about also him like inviting Wooyoung to maybe get more active, like when it comes to doing things. There's something about I don't know. I will move on to Wooyoung's side so we can see a bit more about how these two perspectives like sort of match, because from William's perspective, his energy definitely is very much like very much slow, like somehow focused on results, and probably he's much more reflective, like he's much more inward. So yeah, it's very different from how Sun sees the bond. Um, from Rujan's side, we have the Seven of Pentacles, Five of Pentacles, and the Hermit. So definitely for William's side, there's a sense of like him wanting to be by himself, or him actually having uh, having experienced moments by himself, learning something or working on something, but probably, reflecting on his results. I think that there's something about maybe is his his performance or the way he had been working, that he's not entirely satisfied, and this definitely does affect his connection with Sun, because probably he wants to fix this by himself, or he wants to do this alone, and or probably he feels a bit like, oh, I made a mistake, and I feel bad, and I cannot say anything because everyone is so happy or everyone is so excited. If you compare it to Sun's point of view, like Sun is really much like happy, and like, yes, he's like very positive and very bright. It's like, no, I don't want anyone to ruin this moment right now, this moment of celebration. I'm going to defend this. So I think that this is from Wooyoung's perspective. There's like, oh, like, actually, like, I don't know if I want to go out that often, or I don't know if I want to do things more often. Like, he definitely is focused on something else, on certain results, and I know that he wanted something. There's something about work. Maybe he wanted to do something different for himself, and he waited patiently to have like some kind of approval, and he didn't get it. So he's like a bit disappointed, in himself, and also feeling a bit left out, by others. It's like, oh, I wanted to have this, and they didn't give it to me. I don't know if maybe it's more lines or it's an actual like participation in a song or a project. He wanted something for himself, and he didn't get it. So there's also like, I feel like he sort of feels pity for himself, like, and this definitely affects his his relationship with Sun, because he's not talking about it with the hermit. It's like, okay, leave me alone. Like he probably also is feeling a bit moody, but it has to do with his need to be perfect at work. It has to do with him being always 100%, you know, perfect, or just being in good condition, or and in this we have to take into consideration what he thinks that perfect is. Probably he has high standards for himself, in the sense of that he wants to give it his all, or he sort of wants to keep his continuation of good work. It's like, oh, I've been doing very well, like, I want to do better, or I want to show, I don't know, I want to shock people, I don't know. He definitely wants to challenge himself, and all of a sudden I think that he was disappointed that he actually got the same, I don't know if it's the same lines, not the same lines, but there's something about repetitiveness. Maybe he got a part, or he got a choreography, or he got something that he had to perform that it's very similar to what he did in the past. So there's something about like, oh, I don't feel that this is not what I wanted. This is the feeling. But I don't know, and I think that also he feels very misunderstood. I don't know why I'm getting that Wooyoung feels more Cancerian than Sun, and I guess that it does make sense because of his moon in Cancer. I think that it does make sense that probably Wooyoung inside, he's very like sensitive to certain things not going the way he expected, because I definitely see him like putting a lot of effort to get this, but yeah, so I definitely can see why Sun feels so energetic all of a sudden, why he feels so like um, in this position of like, okay, I see that you are a bit like um, a bit on your introverted side, you're overthinking things, or maybe you're focusing too much on what you didn't get. So, I want to take you out of this. I don't want you to keep having that mindset. But I think that whatever happened for Wooyoung, it sort of brings this possibility to go inwards and reflect on himself. He's like reflecting about like, okay, why do you feel so bad that this didn't work out? Like what's going on with you? Um, so probably he's like also like feeling a bit apathic. Probably, him expecting this actually to have more fun during this comeback, and I think that it's not about him not that enjoying what he's doing, but I think that he's doing it because he's thinking about results. He's like, okay, I'm doing this because this is going to generate this, and this is going to create this, and he wants something more, in his career. He's thinking about results. He's thinking about like, okay, I managed to do this and this, but there's no emotions coming from his side. But for Sun it's different, because Sun is definitely connecting with joy and connecting with happy times, because he's like, oh, we won, we celebrated, so I want to defend these happy moments that we have while we have them. It seems like he wants to go out and celebrate, not to think about like our schedule or what we have to do next or what we have to create next, and sit down and learn things and think about, money. Son is more like, okay, I want to go out, like I want to uh, bring a bit more, much more excitement, and also excitement to their relationship, to their friendship. There's something about probably Wooyoung also in the relationship, feeling a bit like misunderstood by some. It's like, oh, you don't get it. You don't get why this matters to me. You don't understand it. You don't understand it. For me, this was important. So yeah, like I will not, like, sort of becoming very very silent all of a sudden. It's like, okay, I will not have this conversation with you because you are not listening to me. So I think that definitely there's something about Wooyoung that is like, I need you to listen to me. Like, listen to me. Like, stop trying to distract me from things. Like, I want to focus on this that I'm feeling now. And if you don't understand me, I'm going to walk away and be by myself. Something like that. Um, yeah, I feel that they are in two different kinds of experiences. They probably are experiencing the same thing, but with different views. One is very excited, it's very passionate, it's very inspired by all of this, and he's like, okay, let's go, like very energetic and also very being very like dramatic sort of, but looking for exciting moments, and probably wanting to hang out, wanting to be out there, and for Wooyoung is like he's becoming more introverted. He's like, no, because I want to focus on results. I want to keep working hard, and I want to fix this, and I want to keep putting effort into this. So next time I will get what I want. He's slowly like thinking about work. I think that he's thinking about work, or maybe he's also thinking about the opportunities that they missed. Maybe he's really really focused on the numbers, or he's really focused on the sales. On the practical side of life, and he's not feeling very very like, oh, let's go celebrate. He's thinking much more like, okay, how can we improve this, because I expected us to do better in numbers. So yeah. um then the relationship as an overall, they got the four of swords, ace of pentacles, and ace of cups. Beautiful cards, definitely beautiful cards, cards of new beginnings, very successful and emotional new beginnings for them. But I think that also with the Four of Swords, I think that what is important, and I believe that probably they will achieve this in the near future, is to be able to relax a little bit, to stop a little bit. For me, the Four of Swords is like the hiatus card. But I don't think that ATEEZ is going to have a hiatus because actually they have a lot of things to accomplish yet for this year. But there's this sense of like, okay, let's quiet our minds. Let's stop a bit. I definitely sense that also. Sun has all the energy, but I think that definitely he's hiding behind this energetic self of him. Definitely he's like hiding from something. He's like probably not connecting with himself because he's thinking like, okay, I have to do this, and I have to be like this, and I have to be laughing, and I have to be, very excited, and I have to show that I really want this, and him being his passionate self. Um, but I think that definitely from Wooyoung's side, since he's much more reflective and he's like much more like somehow looking for answers within himself, these guys need a rest. Definitely. Like these guys need a rest. Like, and probably also a rest from the social media, from being all the time like reading things about themselves or just being all the time talking about work. There's something about guys really stop a minute and think about yourself and the bond. I think that they're going. This friendship is very good for each other. This connection is very good for each other. They definitely bring out the best of each other, but they also challenge each other to to see what the other one is lacking. I think that it's very interesting. I sense that somehow I feel their energy as if they were opposites to each other, but literal opposites. Like they definitely bring this to the connection. Like, okay, I don't see the things the way you see it, but I also want to help you understand my vision. There's this sort of like, okay, we are so different, but I want you in my world. Like, I want you to see me. Like, I want you to understand me. It's not like the typical that you're like, oh, you don't think like me, or we don't vibe because we are so different. Like, okay, I would not hang out with you. No, in this case, it's like, okay, yes, we are different, but we have this connection nevertheless. And definitely it's a genuine connection. It's a genuine connection. um, but yeah, I think that here with the Four of Swords, there's a sort of exhaustion, like physically, mentally. There's a lot of like accumulation of things, that frustrations that probably weren't expressed. And there's a lot of things that they need to connect because they are getting a bit overwhelmed with, you know, like one is excited and then suddenly he gets too excited, and the other one is a bit on the reflective side and he gets too reflective, too introvert. So I think that definitely they need a sort of break, a sort of at least 2 weeks, but they need a break. um, but yeah, with the Ace of Pentacles and the Ace of Cups, there's always like the possibility of new beginnings with these two, and I wonder what that means. I think that they definitely go through moments where they get upset with each other and they don't talk to each other. With this sort of Four of Swords, it's like I need a time away from you. Like I need to somehow walk away from this bond a bit so I can like recharge and I can think about why I get so on my feelings. And I think that this is a sort of like, it feels like a sort of dance that they do together, where there are moments where they are all the time together and then there are moments where they are apart. And I think that they know that they need this. Because with the Ace of Pentacles and the Ace of Cups, it's like, yeah, we sometimes can be separated, or we can like actually ask each other for some space, but then eventually, the bond starts to activate again. We get back together, because with the aces in here, it's like always like a new prosperous beginning and a very loving beginning. It's like, okay, we can be separated for different reasons or seasons that we just, maybe they just don't cannot stand each other, or they just get very sensitive being around each other, because I sense that sometimes there's one of them that just annoys the other, and the other is like, okay, I cannot stand being next to you right now. I can't. So they sort of go different ways, or they just focus on working with others or being with other members or friends, and then eventually they reunite. They reunite, and it sort of they start over. They start over. And here with the aces, it's like, okay, there will always be like a fresh new beginning with us, you know um but yes, they have this moment that probably their energies together is too much for each other, or probably one is thinking that the other is being selfish, and the other one is thinking that the other is being too sensitive or too much in their feelings or their minds. So they definitely need breaks from each other as well. But when they come back, when they have this sort of reconciliation, is very beautiful. It's very and actually they do very well together. They are good for each other, and they are a good influence for each other. Wherever they're together, they sort of bring prosperity, and also like a very loving connection. But yes, they have these moments of, you know, that I need to stay away from you a bit. Okay, guys, this is all I have for them. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I see you in my next video. Bye.